Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so very much for tuning in. And I want to personally thank my publicist, my promoter, Mr. Barlow, for setting this up. And we are at the St. John Knit outlet store in St. Augustine. So you still have time to come and shop. And anyone who makes a purchase in the store today gets a free book. But I am going to share with you the latest book that God has blessed me to pen, and it is entitled Meet George the Wonderful. And this is really the first of what is three books so far. Book one is Meet George, because you're going to learn about this wonderful 4.5-year-old character who has autism spectrum disorder, but yet he is gifted and inexplicably in areas such as science. Read the dedication page. And I thank you all so very much, those that are here so far. And I know that others are coming. But I want to read the introduction to the series so that you can know a little bit about this book and why I wrote it. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce the book series, George the Wonderful, also known as GTW. The first book introduces George Alexander Browning as a 4.5-year-old boy who has autism spectrum disorder. Autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disorder primarily identified in childhood. And according to disease control, ASD is a spectrum disorder because of the wide range of symptoms that influence the behavior, communication, and social interaction with others. And according to the CDC, one in every 68 children has a form of ASD. George is lovable, he's energetic, and he's inexplicably gifted in music, science, and the arts. This series introduces to some and presents to others the lived experiences of families dealing with autistic loved ones in a lighthearted and humorous manner. The series shows a lighter and somewhat enjoyable lifestyle of a person living with ASD while shedding light on strategies and techniques to calm the awkward behaviors and tics that are associated with the condition. Tics are repetitive behaviors and involuntary sounds or actions that are frequently associated with autism. They can be motor or vocal in nature, and it is believed that tics can be managed through behavioral therapy or, in certain situations, medication. And in this series, you will see George interacting with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Browning, his sister Sarah, and his brother Henry, and their independent thinking and loyal West Highland White Terrier, whom George lovingly named Cupcake. The second book is titled Happy Birthday, George, and the third book is titled George Goes to Kindergarten. Both books are completed and they are scheduled for release this summer, and then the third one in the fall. This series is especially created to help you and your child explore ways that persons with disabilities interact with the world. The series is sure to give place for robust family dialogue surrounding this subject, which is often omitted from many family discussions, and that is the inclusion of persons with disability in today's world. You can buy this book by going to our website, which is onecore311publishing.com. And I want to read the dedication page as well as the thank yous. So, I dedicate this book to the countless students and their families with whom I have had the honor and privilege of interacting with and instructing over the last 10 plus years. Although exceptionally blessed, these special needs students are often marginalized, discounted, and overlooked. Yet they are humorous, intelligent, gifted, unique in their own ways, and therefore they should be highly valued and recognized. They are not disabled, but different abled. I also have a thank you page, and I want to read that all before I read the book. And I thank you all so very much for those that are tuning in and for those that are here today. The thank you. I first want to thank God, the ultimate creator, for giving me the artistic vision to conceptualize this unique and colorful character, George Alexander Browning. George the Wonderful, and to bring his life, words, and pictures. Without God, this project would not be possible. I also thank my one and only sister, Mrs. Felicia Thomas, who is here right now. She is a retired 30 plus year veteran teacher who actually taught me how to decode. Decode is the word for reading. We see reading as just you see the words and you see, but decoding is the art of putting letters together and making sounds. So as the story goes, she came home from, I think it was preschool one day, and I was about 3.5 years old, and she was reading, and I was so shocked. And I said, "Can you read?" She said, "Yes. Would you like me to teach you?" And I said, "Yes." And her homework assignment, I still remember it this day. Her homework assignment that night was AT was written like 4 times on the paper, and she had to put another letter in front of the word to make new words. So together we collaborated because I helped her that night. And so we made hat, cat, bat, sat, and rat. And so I give God glory that He has given me the sister who is now my educational consultant, and I thank God for her. And she is invaluable, and her help cannot be measured. Last, I'd like to thank my devoted husband who has helped me beyond measure, more than I can ever say, to write this book and also to pursue and obtain my doctorate degree. I give God glory for my entire family, my mom and dad and brother as well. To God be the glory. So now let's read this book, Meet George the Great. Oh, or is it one? Let's find out. George, he's wonderful is true. But George is different from me and you. How is he different, you ask? I'll explain. It's in the way he does most everything. George taps his left index finger to think. He clicks his tongue in his mouth 5 times and then he blinks his eyes 3 times. Oh, you better beware for his next adventure. You better beware. Sometimes he rocks from side to side and repeats the same old phrase. Other times he just sits quietly. Other times he's all the rage. Though he spoke not a word until he was 2 years old, he now talks nonstop, and he's really quite bold. He makes others laugh by his creative hijinks. It's really unique how this little boy thinks. See there? He's with his mother, and his mother is in the background. We want to pay attention because everything you see in book one, you're going to see again in another way in book two. He makes others laugh with his creative hijinks. It's really unique how this little boy thinks. George has exceptional ability which sets him apart. He's unexplainably gifted in music, science, and the arts. He loves Mozart, Chopin, and Michael Jackson, the performer. He's quite active. He likes to cook, read, hike, and act like a transformer. He loves cooking with his mother. He loves reading by a lake. You're going to see that in another one of our books as well. Hiking, and he thinks he's a transformer. What makes George different are the things that you see cannot see, for George has what is called autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD. Look at Cupcake. There is nothing impossible to him who will try. And that is a quote by Alexander the Great, who George saw an episode of Alexander the Great on National Geographic and really took to the characteristics of Alexander. And you'll see that play out in the series as well. Autism affects how George views and interacts with others. To George, he's the great, but he's just wonderful to his mother. He lives with his parents, brother and sister, and dog that he named Cupcake. This lovely family of five plus a dog all reside in a house by a beautiful lake. Look at their family. Aren't they colorful? Aren't they blended? Just like we are in America. Love comes in all colors. From the inside to the out, George is unique and colorful, which is why his mother does not call him the great, but instead, George the wonderful. I'm going to give you a hint too. Oh, I missed the page. Ooh, I missed the page. Um, I love my husband who keeps me in line. Back up, I left out a page. With the right attitude, self imposed limitations. That's another quote by Alexander the Great. And you will see George there. And then, because of his antics, George calls himself the Great after Alexander the Great because of his adventures with his brother, sister, and dog, Cupcake. From the inside to out, George is unique and colorful, which is why his mother does not call him the Great, but instead George the Wonderful. And again, if you get a book, pay attention to the scenes because everything you see, you're going to see again. Look at this thread. Wonder what's coming up in our next book with that thread and cloth. George and Cupcake. The end. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I thank you so very much. About the author, you can find, and we have a website that'll be launching the beginning of next week, and we'll have more information about autism, spectrum disorder, and how you, as a concerned citizen, can play your part to make sure that we are doing all that we can to close the gap, to include them in society as much as possible. Prior to writing this book, I worked for almost a decade in Duval County Public Schools as a job developer for persons with special needs. And we would help put them in jobs in the city. And it was always so refreshing to see just how much they really did know. So much when we see disabled people, we think of what they can't do. But really, we need to think about what they can do. And another thing that really would strike me was some of the students were receiving like a social security check. So if you think that you don't have time to help them, just know that this one way or another, we're giving to them. So we might as well give them things that is going to help them feel better about themselves. And studies show that people who work, who have quality jobs, they feel better about themselves. And we found in many cases when those persons went to work, they felt good about themselves. When that check came every other Friday, they were excited, just as excited as we are when we get our check. So my whole purpose for writing this book is to help share with the world autism spectrum disorder and what we can do to share our part to make them feel really loved and a part of our community. But you can start today by getting your copy of Meet George the Wonderful, or is he great? You determine. Thank you so very much. Oh boy. Any questions? You don't have no questions? Okay. Oh, you want to purchase? Oh, wonderful. Give Shalonda a card, please. Thank you, Shalonda.